All right, so I haven't put out any content over the past week or two, at least not any long form content. I've just been putting out reels and short videos and things like that. But that's mainly because we went on vacation. We went on a family vacation down to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and it was a lot of fun. I'd like to take you through this a little bit. I'm going to try to do a bit of a voiceover here and just give you a little bit of the footage that I took with my phone on this trip. So we headed out after Easter dinner at my mother-in-law's, had a great time there. We had a great Easter weekend. The kids did an Easter egg hunt, several Easter egg hunts, and then we had, a good meal at the in-laws' house, and then we headed out directly afterwards and headed down towards Tennessee. Starting out in Ohio, we live in Columbus, Ohio, and we headed down and actually ended up spending the night in Kentucky a couple hours into the trip, maybe 2 hours into the trip. Stayed at a hotel, great hotel. The kids went swimming. We had that's like the kids' favorite thing to do anytime we go anywhere is like they want to go swimming. We have to stay places with a pool, and that's one of the main reasons we end up in this cabin that we end up in on this trip is because of the indoor pool. And I'll tell you, we spent a pretty penny to get this thing. There's I don't know, I just don't think there's a lot of vacation homes or cabins especially that have an indoor pool. So this is kind of cool. But this is just footage from the hotel pool and hot tub here. But we had a great time, just a relaxing time. Like I said, it was leisurely, right? So we stopped after only a couple hours drive, and then we end up leaving the hotel the next morning and driving the rest of the 3 to 4 hour journey down to Tennessee, and then we get to Pigeon Forge. And we got there, we spent the night in the cabin, and the very next day we went on an adventure, right? So right here, I'll take you through. That was Asher riding a mountain coaster, which is a pretty cool. They have tons of them down there. But this is the cabin we stayed in, and like I said, it was not cheap, and but it was worth it to us because of the indoor pool, right? And it's just it's a badass cabin. Look at this thing. You saw the indoor pool there, but along with that, you go upstairs. It's very roomy, very all kinds of stuff to do. Look at this. They got a pool table, like a game room upstairs, and they had this little Pac-Man arcade game. It had 6 different old school Atari-esque games in it. Here we come out here and take a look at the pool that we had. It's not huge, but the kids loved it. It was a good time. And then there's a hot tub out there as well. And then you go out back of the cabin. We're right here on, up in the mountains. We had this fire pit here, which you'll see later. We did do some stuff there. This footage right here is actually right before we got to the cabin. This was about an hour out from Pigeon Forge, and this was the coolest little nerd restaurant that they had there. A little nerd burger joint called Bit Burger, and it's all pop culture nostalgia and nerd culture stuff. Look at all this. All these arcade games, movie posters. I think my favorite thing was this over here. You can see, well, we'll get back to it, but there's comic books, Wizard magazine, all these action figures on the wall. You got Venom there, like a Batman Returns movie poster. Just all these awesome action figures. X-Men there. I love the X-Men. Had this little miniature Darth Vader statue. And then, yeah, right there's the comics. So I was sitting there reading comics with my daughter. Here's her reading some Spider-Man featuring Wolverine. And that's somehow her face got cut off of that. But she is a reader. So she's one of the kids that actually reads comic books and can discuss them with me and stuff. The other kids, they're just not as into that sort of thing. But yeah, we had a great time. We had pancakes for breakfast every morning. Wonderful restaurants we went to down there. We went to places we try to go places that have kind of local cuisine, right? Kind of southern food and stuff like that. We went to a lot of great restaurants and then also a lot of not so great restaurants. But this is the place where actually Asher rode the the mountain coaster, which is a little like personal coaster. Like you ride it, it's like a one-person cart, and you can control the speed of it. You can slow it down or let gravity take you faster and faster. But this was a place called Goats on the Roof, and they had the mountain coaster there. There's Asher zooming down the mountain coaster. But that was Veda feeding the goats. It was like all goat themed, right? She adopted a little stuffed goat there, got a little certificate showing her adoption. But this is another cool thing they had here that the kids really enjoy doing, and this is like gem mining. So you would get these big buckets of sand, and then you would like pan for gems. So this was a lot of fun, and they both got like these big baggies full of gems in the end. You can see here, she's like panning here, and then you could see the gems that come out. And there was all these different types of gems, and they gave you like a little laminated card that told you all the gems that might be in there, and so that you can like identify them and figure out what you have, what you found. And there was a ton. You're like guaranteed like a baggie full of gems in every bucket. So this was another cool thing that we did. We went to this, and I wish I would have got footage of it, but this is a Rainforest Adventures, and it's basically an indoor zoo, like 95% indoor, and it was really great. It was really awesome. Just like it wasn't like an extensive like zoo, but it was almost like a portion of a zoo. But they had a lot of great stuff in there, really lively animals too. A lot of times you go to the zoo, all the animals are like tired or sleepy or sad, right? But they seem to be genuinely happy in this environment. Here's some footage of just, we went up to some lookout points. We left Pigeon Forge and we're heading down to Gatlinburg. And I'll tell you that we, especially the kids, enjoyed Pigeon Forge much more than Gatlinburg. Gatlinburg was a lot of walking. Like, you have to pay to park. Most businesses don't have parking lots of their own, so you have to go to these like big parking lots and pay $20 to park, and then you just walk the streets of Gatlinburg. But Pigeon Forge is much more driver friendly, car friendly, and there was a big car show going on down there. So Pigeon Forge was like pretty packed, but not as bad as we had worried that it would be. But a lot of cool classic cars that we saw and stuff like that. So great time. But for my money, Pigeon Forge is so much more fun, especially if you like don't drink. Like, I don't drink, my wife doesn't really drink, so like I could see Gatlinburg being a lot of fun if I was like younger, or maybe we didn't have the kids and we were out like bar hopping or something, going to different restaurants and walking the strip. But we all unanimously liked Pigeon Forge a lot better. We could drive around, try out different restaurants. They actually had parking lots, and you didn't have to pay to park everywhere. It was cool. And like I said, the car show that was going on, there were all these awesome classic cars lining the main strip in Pigeon Forge. It was pretty damn cool. So this is the next day. We actually, on the way back, this was in Gatlinburg. So this is, in Gatlinburg, we didn't have the cabin. We stayed at a hotel, and just did the normal stuff. I got a workout in. The kids, we got breakfast there. They got to swim again. This is actually, I don't know how this photo got here, but this is actually the sandwich that I got at, and the dessert that we got at Bitburger. So that, I really liked the food there. The food was really good there. There was, like I said, there was a couple places we went in Pigeon Forge that it really wasn't the greatest of foods. But one that we went to was called what was it called? Old Mill. I think it was called the Old Mill Restaurant. It was fantastic. They gave you so much food, like way more than you could ever actually eat. And, well, I ate it all. But it was pretty awesome. The wait staff was awesome. They were on it. Like, you were in and out of there inside of an hour, which everywhere else we went was like a terrible wait. But Old Mill Restaurant was fantastic. I highly recommend the Old Mill Restaurant. This is just more footage from the overlooks that we went to. Really great scenery down here, right? Like, this is this is the Great Smoky Mountains. Like, I wish that we had more time down there because Asher and I really like to hike, and we could have got some hiking in. But this was more of like a, restaurants and going to different places. That's kind of what we were doing there. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll wrap this thing up. Basically, after that last stay in Gatlinburg and doing a couple of fun things in Gatlinburg, we headed back to Ohio. And this time we did not stop halfway to stay overnight. We just drove all the way back. And it wasn't so bad. It wasn't that bad of a drive. I'm a truck driver, so yeah, I'll be used to driving 6 hours in a day. Easy, right? Like, so a 6 hour drive somewhere is not a big deal at all. I'm used to driving, 8 to 12 hours. So my family loves that I'm a truck driver because I don't mind driving the whole way, especially my wife. She's like, she doesn't like highway driving. And so it was good all around. Anyway, we had a great vacation, great time. All of us, I feel like, really enjoyed it. I think next time we will maybe spring for a little, maybe a little less comfort in terms of the cabin, because like I said, it was very expensive, and I think we could find something a little less expensive, but it was totally worth it. I was not concerned about money at all on this vacation. I just figured, like, we don't do this often. We're lucky if we take one vacation a year, like a real vacation. We do a lot of like staycations where we stay in hotels for a night or two to go swimming. Like I said, kids love it. But other than that, we don't go out of state very often. We just have very busy lives going on. But this was a really great time, and I don't regret a dime that we spent, even though a lot of stuff is really overpriced in like Gatlinburg. It really was a fun time. So highly recommend Pigeon Forge. Gatlinburg, not as much, unless you're like a partier or someone who likes to spend a lot of time walking outdoors, walking up and down the strip and checking out, different eateries. And there was a lot of cool things that would have probably been cool to check out, like I think they had like a wax museum and stuff like that down there, but we didn't do any of that. The kids were really just tired of walking by the time we went to a couple places. So that was our experience in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. And thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you've ever been to either of these places, and do you prefer Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg? Like, which one is your favorite place to go of the two? All right, guys, if you enjoy videos like this, or actually most of the videos I do here are talking about entertainment and pop culture and stuff like that. So, if you enjoy that sort of thing, stick around. I also throw in some family stuff like this as well, but, little peeks into my real life outside of pop culture commentary. But if you're interested in any of that sort of thing, please subscribe to the channel or favorite or follow the Daily BS podcast. And if you do decide to stick around, then I will talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks.